Hello, and thank you so much for dropping by this video. So I just found out that my first Advaita teacher, um, Advaita Vedanta teacher, has retired. He was a former professor at my university, and it's just it has me very emotional and in wonderful ways, and just really reflecting on the gift that he gave me, and now that I'm passing along via this channel. So this is a tribute video to him. So first and foremost, I had my freshman year, though this was a liberal arts college, so we didn't say freshman, we said first year. So my first year at college, through an odd set of circumstances, I ended up with a new roommate. I actually switched rooms, and this roommate was all excited about this Asian religions class. And he had this book, the DAO of Poo. And I was interested in spiritual and metaphysical things, but it was more sort of new age kind of stuff. So I wasn't really familiar with Eastern traditions at all. And as soon as I saw that book, the Tao of Poo, I was like, I need to take that class. And then he kept telling me these interesting stories about this professor and what an amazing class it was. And so as luck had it, next semester, I registered, depending on the year and your last name determined when you registered, because this professor was one of, if not the most popular teacher on campus. And next semester, I was registering first. So I got into his class, which always filled up, his Asian religions class, which always fills up easy, quickly. And my life has never been the same since. And I'm very grateful. He and I actually developed a friendship over the years. And, not only was he a college professor to me, but he was a friend and a mentor. And, his approach, at the time, his approach was more scholarly. I mean, this guy was trained at Harvard. So, he got rigorous academic training in specifically in Hinduism. He also had a secondary focus in Buddhism, and he taught Asian religions in general, while his specialty was Hinduism. And so sometimes he and I would argue, because I just was like, well, I just want to, have these cool experiences. And he would and he would sort of point out certain details, or, point out the errors in my belief system, that it wasn't sort of in alignment. He would do it very lovingly. In hindsight, that his attention to detail and his calling me back to that, again, very gently and lovingly, he never preached at me. He would just say, well, da 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 da, well, the Gita says this, or, well, this is the common Hindu view, or actually saved my life, and actually has given genesis to this YouTube little sangha we have here. Because I was having all these amazing spiritual experiences in various Neo-Advaita teachers, but it wasn't, but nothing was sticking, and my life was actually headed downhill. And then some of the training I received from him, I'd be like, wait, what this teacher is teaching, that's in opposition to the Bhagavad Gita. Or, and then, so when I would read spiritual books, I would read them from two perspectives: as a spiritual seeker, but also as an academic. And so an academic is just seeking to have an objective understanding of the message, not even is the message true or not. So I'm reading Ramana Maharshi being like, I want to realize the self, but also, thanks in part to the training from my friend, my professor, I was also looking at it from an objective point of view. What is Ramana Maharshi communicating? What is his teaching? So over time, what I recognized that from my academic half, and God bless this teacher who gave me that training, um, that Neo-Advaita satsangs were completely in contradiction with, not completely, 95%, 96%, more like 99%, but um, in contradiction to what Ramana actually taught. And then, of course, in his class, I'd been introduced to the Bhagavad Gita and I'd studied it on and off over the years. And so I began to see places where Neo-Advaita was in contradiction with the Gita as well. So it's really that attention to detail. And then it's only recently that I've come to realize that traditional Advaita Vedanta, now Ramana didn't emphasize this, but traditional Advaita Vedanta is actually quite scholarly, with a lot of attention to detail and a lot of training and a lot of learning. So I would like to give a tribute to my first Advaita Vedanta teacher. And actually, after he, I took his Asian religions class, and about the second or third week, we'd been talking about Hinduism and learning some of the basics. He gave a talk on Advaita Vedanta, and introduced the concept of Brahman, the supreme, and that Brahman is not separate from samsara. That initially, that he did it so poetically. He put on the board, like he made a circle representing samsara and talked about samsara. And then he did another half, which was Brahman, eternal blissful consciousness. And in between the two, he put a snake representing Maya. And he did this long, long talk. And then at the very end, and he also talked about the jiva, that there's the individual and there's the Atman, the spark of divinity, when, in the different levels of individuality. And then the center is Atman. And so he talked for like 40 minutes and talked about the path, how the jiva strives to escape from samsara, to make it into Brahman. And so he'd given us all this information. And then he said, and once realization occurs, the yogi or the seeker I've got goosebumps right now, recognizes that samsara is not different from Brahman. And he erased the snake that was between the two, that samsara is Brahman. And that this spark of divinity that lies in the center of each of us is Brahman, that Atman is Brahman. The individual drop of water actually is the ocean. And he ended his lecture there. I was speechless. I'd never heard anything like this. And I closed my eyes and I said, what would it be like to be an all-pervasive energy that's everywhere, that is everything and is at one with everything? I just let myself wonder that. And I don't know what happened next. What I realized is that I blacked out. I came to, I don't know how long later. What I do know is that I was no longer in the classroom and I was outside on the lawn. Maybe a 3-minute walk away from the classroom. I have no memory of getting there. And I was on my knees and I was bowing to the earth. And as I came to, I had the thought, everything that I've pursued, what was the exact thought? Everything I have pursued is meaningless compared to the pursuit of enlightenment. That's the thought. As I came back into consciousness, that's the thought that I was having. And I was on my knees bowing. I don't know that I was bowing to the earth, but I think my forehead was touched to the earth. And I think I came to so I don't know what happened during those minutes. I don't know how long I was gone. But I know that this teacher and the poetic, the precise and poetic way that he presented Advaita Vedanta changed my life and led to some kind of awakening experience and me dedicating my life to this path. So, to much gratitude. And the beauty of it is his father was a devotee of Ramana Maharshi. I don't know if his father and Ramana ever met, but his father practiced self-inquiry. And from a brief conversation I had with my professor, his father had the sense that he had realized. And so I just have this beautiful sense that, Ramana to my teacher's father, to my teacher, to me. And again, I don't claim realization by any means, but that very precious knowledge and wisdom has been passed down. And it's now my honor to do my best with precision and poetry to pass along um, the wisdom and the precise, accurate information that was taught to me by my initially a stranger who, initially just a college professor who became a friend and a mentor and who completely changed my life. And because of him, now I'm able to. Some of you have expressed that this channel is really helpful. So because of him, now I'm able to help others. So my nickname for him was DB. So DB, thank you so much. And for whatever it's worth, these words come. I don't know if they mean anything or they're the right words, but I believe your father was and is very proud of you for the amazing work you've done. And I'm just one life. There was a reason why you were one of, again, I don't know the actual statistics, but one of, if not the most popular teacher on campus. And it's because you were not only a scholar, you were a very deep soul. And my prediction is you touched and that you woke up a lot of souls. So there's no words. Gratitude doesn't even come close for the gift you gave me. DB. Thanks to everyone who's watched this tribute, and take care. Much love.